All right, welcome, Judy Byrne, Executive Director from Basketball Newfoundland and Labrador. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Johnny. How are you?
Excellent. So thank you for being part of this discussion. I've been talking with some wonderful people about working in sport and what that means. And my intro is that the reason you're on is that you have been one of my inspirations in sport and why I started. And you're one of the most powerful women in sport in Newfoundland and Labrador, so I had to have you on.
Wow, my heart is full right now. Thank you, brother.
Right now, so we've done our intro now. The great secret's been unveiled that we're brother and sister. But
Yes.
now the important question is, tell us what's your journey to become executive director of Basketball in Newfoundland and Labrador? How'd you get there? Where'd you start? And
oh my
how'd you get to where you are now?
Well, that goes back many years.
That's the point of it.
I know. Truly and honestly, the sport found me. I was always the tall, big kid in school. And I can remember it vividly. I was watching our older sister Jeanette practice basketball one day, and the coach was inquiring who the tall kid in the doorway was watching practice. So it wasn't long before I was hauled onto the basketball court and was obviously introduced to the sport. And there was no looking back after that. As they say, the rest is history. It's been a truly, I guess, exciting. I don't know if that's the right word, but I've been blessed with an amazing journey in my basketball career, and not only on the court, but obviously everything that came with it. And as you mentioned, we wanted to have this conversation, and I started thinking about my journey, and it's been a pretty lengthy journey and a pretty lots of great experiences, some not so great experiences, but I was an athlete, I was a coach, I worked in the rec sector. I became a mom to 3 beautiful kids, did some coaching again, and then was introduced to the world of NLBA as their technical director. And there was no really turning back then. I worked my way up, and when Mr. Bill Murphy of the executive director of 29 years retired, I applied for the job, and I'm sitting here as executive director now in 2021. So that's sort of a little bit of it.
But that's something that interests me is because making the decision to okay, I want to apply to be executive director. I think when you're at the outside, that sounds great, but you worked in there long enough to know that's okay, that's a big decision. Why would you make that decision to say, okay, I want to do this?
Oh, that's tough. I think because I was in the environment and I worked for 6 years as the technical director before I sat in the seat, you really got a feel of the ins and outs of the sport and what NLBA did for our province and for basketball. Bill was an amazing mentor, and secretly, I think he was mentoring me from the second I probably walked through the door, but obviously I didn't know that. And I think he made the transition very easy, but it was appealing to me. And I guess I set that goal for myself when after a couple of years of being at the NLBA, and I knew Bill was going to be retiring, it was a secret goal that I set for myself that, I want to sit in that seat one day, and I want to be able to contribute to the sport in our province and helping it grow. So yeah, it was sort of, I was a little bit driven to be the executive director.
Now so I'm interested too, in what do you see basketball do? Why is it one of those kind of things where, because yeah, it's a sport and you have fun and those kind of things, but why is it, okay, yeah, I'm sticking in basketball, this is something I want to do and help help the sport, help grow the sport? Like, what is it about basketball? What do you see it do for community and for people and those kind of things?
Well, I'll speak for myself first. I know what the sport has given me, like from an athlete and a coach standpoint. The experiences, the memories, all of the above, the things that the sport has given me, the path that has set me on for my life, when I didn't realize when I put on a pair of basketball sneakers that I was really setting myself up for a career in basketball. I didn't think that, but truly, when I sit here, I want to give back to a sport that has given so much to me. And I think that's a huge driving force. But what makes me stick with it? What made me stick with basketball? Is that really the underlying question?
Yeah.
There's a lot to that. Can I go back a little while?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, it's not a.
Well, it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Right. So when I did start to play, like I said, I was that tall kid that I really wanted to hide in the corner. I didn't want to stick out anywhere. And I think the basketball court was probably the last place I truly wanted to be. But I realized pretty quickly how basketball gave me such confidence. And it made me realize, okay, I got height and I got it for a reason. I was blessed with those Byrne genes. And it truly gave me the confidence to, I guess, persevere and to become a good basketball player and to open up some of those pathways that basketball had to bring. I don't think I would have applied for recreation jobs every summer when I was in high school or university to pave my way if I wasn't involved in basketball. Like, that's just one small thing. I don't think I would have ran basketball camps in my spare time if I wasn't a basketball player. So I got a taste of what sport does for young people and what it did for me at a young age. And I truly want to keep giving back to sport in that way. Because there's so much, there's so many people that we can touch. That connection is huge.
Now, I'm really interested. I am interested in, because you went from like playing the sport to working in the sport, and knowing that those are very different things. Like, what do you think some of the biggest misconceptions are out there about people that work in sport or jobs in sport, or things that you hear or learned and when people are looking at going into working in this sector?
Well, I think number one, we're sort of taken for granted. It's not considered a career. It's all fun and games. But truly, it's, you need a sort of passion and drive to be involved in sport. And I guess I'm at a loss for words here. The advice I would give someone if they wanted to start on this pathway is to do it for the right reasons. There's so much, like I said, to giving back to young people, to giving back to our coaches. And it's not the fact that every athlete that you come in contact with is going to be an elite athlete. It's, I guess, introducing them to a sport, having them fall in love with the sport, and having them be active for a lifetime. Like, that's really our end goal. But I think, you're not walking into sport to get rich, monetarily rich, but I think the richness that we gain from the connections we have in sport, because sport is people. And I think those connections, that's just the priceless piece. And I think if you have to be entering into a career in sport for the right reasons. And I think the people are the right reasons.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's one of the things. I was going to ask you, like, what's your elevator pitch, like, to someone considering working, but I think you gave it right there, which is awesome. It's funny what you say, like, about the misconceptions. I don't know the number of discussions I've had when I first met people that I told them I worked in Special Olympics and in sport, and they're like, full time?
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah,
Most
I know
people think it's a volunteer gig.
that's my job. All right, so now what's your story, or the story that you think of throughout your years that sticks out to you when you're thinking, oh, this is what gives me energy, this is what brings a value to me, or what you're thinking about on those days when it's like, oh, I need to go back
Like
to this.
going
This is
through
why I'm
COVID
here.
for the last 2 years, those days.
Yeah.
And I know this is, you're gonna say, oh, Jude, come on, you have a story, but I can't pick one story. Like I truly can't. There's too many. But I can pick, and I think it's like a feeling. It's all those stories and memories are in one big bubble for me. And like I go into that bubble and I see the athletes that I've coached, whether that's a kindergarten kid, a kid on a high school team that were going to play for a 3A banner, and they're so emotional in the championship game that they're crying on the bench and they don't know what to do with themselves, or it's a university athlete that is getting ready to step on the floor in championship time. I just think of all those are my story. And I think about my teammates, lifetime friends. And I think those are the things that push me through. Like, it's when I see one of those athletes that I coach and it's like, hey, Mama Jude, how are you doing? I miss you. Or it's, the little kid that you did coach in kindergarten at, junior MBA, and it's 20 years later and they still remember you. And, oh, remember when we played that game, or remember when you did this. And those are the things that sort of light me up and keep me inspired, and keep me wanting to give back to this sport. Because I just, even if you touch one person in your lifetime sitting in this seat, I think that says it all.
That sounds like a story to me. I think you got it. Now, Jude, I'm coming at you. This is going to be my gotcha question. I didn't prepare you for this one, but this is the one that's going viral. This is my gotcha question. So, posters on your wall from your childhood, teenagerhood, Billy Zabka or Charles Barkley, which one are you going to pick?
Well, John, you know that I'm going to pick Charles. And I wish I could turn my computer around and show you Charles on my wall, but I cannot.
I agree. I love it, and I love the poster. So that's good.
And thank you for dusting Charles off.
Yeah.
Thanks for dusting Charles off a few years ago. Best Christmas gift ever.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Jude, thank you so much for being part of this and allowing me to talk with you about your history and your journey. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, it's a great sector to work in, and I think it's important to listen to how people got here and why people are here, and the difference that you can make. So thank you, and have a great rest of the day and upcoming holiday season.
And you guys too. Thank you. Bye.